You're watching Eswatini TV News at 10. I am Nathalie Tole alongside Sicelo Gunene. First, here's a look at our headlining stories tonight. The Prime Minister has arrived in Belgium to take part in the Global Council for Political Renewal meeting. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Thusile Dladla, has welcomed a delegation from the company that partnered with Eswatini through a humanitarian project that saw 20 houses being built for the needy in various constituencies. The Minister of Commerce, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo, says government is set to improve industrialization through factory shells and cottage factories. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister has arrived in Belgium to take part in the Global Council for Political Renewal meeting. The Prime Minister is expected to give insights on the Tinkhundla system of governance during his two-day visit in Brussels.
The Prime Minister has arrived in Belgium to participate in the Global Council for Political Renewal meeting. Upon arrival at the Brussels National Airport, the Prime Minister and his delegation was welcomed by Eswatini's ambassador to Belgium, Sibusisiwe Mngomezulu. The Prime Minister will be joining other world leaders in a two-day meeting whose purpose is to address governance reforms, moving from democratic practices, human rights and institutional accountability. The Prime Minister will also meet with the European Union Parliament Deputy President, Her Excellency Antonella Sberna, prior to delivering his keynote address, where it is anticipated that he will give insights on the Tinkhundla system of governance to the high-level forum. The Global Council is convening for the third time since its formulation in March 2022, and for the Kingdom of Eswatini, it's a first-time appearance that underscores efforts to balance traditional governance with global political expectations. John Molelekeng for Eswatini TV News in Brussels, Belgium.
The Honourable Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Manqoba Khumalo, says for improved economic growth, government is set to improve industrialization through factory shells and cottage factories. The Honourable Minister was speaking in Parliament on Tuesday.
When the House of Assembly convened for parliamentary duties on Tuesday, the Honourable Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Manqoba Khumalo, informed the Honourable House that the ministry is set to strengthen industrial development for the economic growth of the country.
Mr. Speaker, ubonga induna yetemafa kwekuthi nalonyaka isifakele 140 million kuma factory shells yaphinze futhi yasifakela 10 million kulenye iprogram lesicalako lesibita ngema cottage factories lapho khona sitosibuka ke nyalo bosomabhizinisi labancane leTinkhundleni ukuthi uma kaqashe bamfu labang 5 noma labang 10 simsita kanjani kumakhela indlu yokusebenza athole ne-equipment letaba ideal for that particular setup lekhona kungaba mhlambe futhi backyard factories as we may call it lokho siyakujabulela kakhulu Mr. Speaker. Angisho ke Mr. Speaker ukuthi kube bekuya ngathi ngabe yinengi le mali kuna 140 million kepha ke siyati ukuthi imisebenzi elive eminyenti tidzingo tisabalele kepha nje ke le mali itawusisita ukuthi sicedzele imisebenzi lesichubeka siyenta etiko kepha kunema factory lamasha Mr. Speaker lesitawucala umsebenzi wekuwenda ngale mali latawucedwa ibudget letawulandzela ema-factory laseMantambe, ema-factory laseSigwe, ema-factory lase eBulandzeni njengoba akhulumile lo mhlonishwa naletinye tindzawo nje ke lesitibukile lapho khona vele seku-advanced ukuthi le misebenzi iqhubeke. Besingacela Mr. Speaker ukuthi sisasebenta ekuqhubekeni kweminyaka iParliament mayibona kunetimali leti tholakalako bangasikhohlwa nathi mababuke ama priorities elive ngoba kuyawusisita lokho ukuthi si accelerate lo msebenzi njengoba iParliament yakhumbula ukuthi ngwenyama yathi 10 wema factory ngeminyaka.
The Honourable Minister says 10 million emalangeni has been budgeted for the cottage factories and the Majlis gave them a mandate to build 10 factory shells per year. The Honourable Minister further asked for support from the traditional leaders in the Tinkhundla Council to avoid land disputes upon the construction of these factory shells. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samukaswe Koza Mbabane.
The Minister of Tinkundla, Honourable Skhumbuzo Dlamini, says the ministry is working on the issue of the underprivileged failing to receive assistance in royal kraals and chiefdoms, including services such as stamps. The minister condemns the practice where some eMaswati fail to receive support simply because they cannot afford the fees demanded by chiefdoms.
Some of eMaswati are concerned and complaining about the high fees charged when seeking a stamp from chiefdoms to access various forms of assistance. Members of public who spoke to Eswatini TV News Anonymous had this to say. This resident says she had to part with 270 malangeni in order to get a chiefdom stamp. She says she wanted to stamp her siblings' scholarship papers. Meanwhile, this resident says the government must regulate and fix the amount to be paid at chiefdoms to make it uniform. He says even if government were to pay subventions to the chiefdoms for their daily activities, the community leaders will still want residents to pay for services. The Minister of Education, Honourable Skhumbuzo Dlamini, says the ministry is actively working on this issue, recognizing that documents, stamps and ink require money to be purchased.
Akumane phela kube imali lenga khonakala ukhanze ukuthi liswati nje lelihleli lekhaya ngakhona ukuthi libe nayo nekwekuthi ke futhi kwesibili akuphinze tindlunkulu tikunakelo ukuthi abafanani bantu emangweni.
The minister says the money paid at chiefdoms for services should be affordable to all eMaswati. He says the chiefdoms must also bear in mind that some are less privileged than others, so they should not be deprived of services because of money. He says the ministry is working on budgeting for chiefdoms services and this will be implemented in the near future.
Lapho khona kutaba khona imali yokusebenza nje lamphakathini. Nako lesikusebenta kulamalanga nje lesithemba ukuthi eminyakeni engasemgakiledako utabe sekuvele neliphakelo leliya emphakathini.
Many eMaswati have expressed concern about being unable to afford the fees demanded by chiefdoms for stamps. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla Mbabane.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Thuthile Dladla, has today welcomed a delegation from Philip and Morris, the company that partnered with the Kingdom of Eswatini through a humanitarian project which saw 20 houses being built for the needy in various constituencies. The delegation has visited one of the houses at Gamzizi under Mazeisini in Nkundla.
The delegation from Philip Morris has travelled all the way from Switzerland to the Kingdom of Eswatini on a familiarization tour of the humanitarian project, which saw 20 houses being built for the needy in Eswatini from $100,000 funding by Philip Morris. The company's foreign minister Christos Apatindis has praised Eswatini for being a nation that cares for its people.
We are supportive of all important endeavors like this of the Kingdom of Eswatini. That's why we found special value in supporting this housing project on an obvious need that it proves the life of people that are in need. I'm really happy, the Philip Morris delegation and myself, that we are here to see the tangible outcome of this effort, and I'm really proud we participated and contributed to this effort. When we see that really the impact of what we are doing improves the life of the people that are in need, of course we have the desire to help more. So we are looking in the ways of how we should continue this initiative.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Thuthile Dladla, has extended thanks to Philip Morris.
Lokusipha le mali kwento lo mfana wasuba neliphahla utawukhona nokusesikolweni aconcentrate afunze kahle uchubekela phambili batawuchubekela phambili loku labatasi phakona sihamba kahle sokufula engwenyameni ngekuthi vele bebathimisele ukuthi bafuna kufula kahle engwenyameni ukuthi bamsita bafika kuphi nengwenyama go speech from the throne ivele yasho sakuchutshekwe kwakhiwe tindlu so sisacela ukuthi vele nyalo sakhele tindlu nje singemi aze eMaswati ahlale ku shelter lenjengale bese ke kuyachutshekwa ke ngalokunye kuba empowerisha ukuthi nabo bakhone kuba self sustainable.
Ladla has also highlighted that the beneficiaries were selected with the help from members of Tingunja councils who were responsible for identifying families living in dire conditions. Thando Mdluli, Eswatini TV News, Kamzizi.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Mduduzi Mathebula, says government requires Parliament's support in ensuring quality health for all in Maswati. The Honourable Minister says the ministry is working on closing current gaps, especially on the misuse of funds allocated to healthcare.
On Tuesday, when the House of Assembly convened for parliamentary work, the Honourable Minister of Health, Mduduzi Mathebula, pleaded with the Honourable House to support government in ensuring quality health for all in Maswati. The Honourable Minister says the ministry is well aware that not all government funds will focus on the health sector.
And we do understand that Speaker ukuthi ngeke sikwende konke ngalanga linye ngeminyaka munye. But siyethemba ukuthi we will work towards ukuthi live lenetise. Speaker, siyabona nesidingo to strengthen controls ikakhulu ku financial management so that every lilangeni delivers maximum health outputs or impact. Kumcoka lokho sikubuke lokho ukuthi kwayona lele siyitholako isebenta ifike phi. Kumcoka ke silive to also look at growth yale resource envelope because lethi dzingeko tiyachubeka tiyabhaluna but le mali lengenako yona ayikhuli. Kumcoka ke sihlanganise inhloko sibone ukuthi le resource envelope ingakhula njani. And to also come up with austerity measures kubonakala ukuthi nasemhlabeni vele ayachubeka ayehla lawo ma funds lebe sisupporteka ngawo. Kumcoka ke ukuthi siwafase emabhande so that kwayona imali lencane lesinayo sithole maximum benefit kiyo.
The Honourable Minister says in the medium term, government will establish a National Public Health Institute to lead and coordinate essential public health functions. He says with the 3.1 billion Malangani allocation, the ministry will rehabilitate maternity theatres at Matsanjeni, Mkuzweni Nhlangano Health Centres and treatment plant for Tlogolwago Health Centre. Whereas government has budgeted 40 million Malangani for the transformation of the central medical stores. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Swekoza, Mbabane.
The Minister of Education and Training, Honourable Owen Nxumalo, says he is happy with the quality of education provided to students at the Eswatini Medical Christian University. The Minister made this remark while visiting the university alongside members of both Houses of Parliament to assess the operations of the institution.
Commending the quality of education provided to students at Eswatini Medical Christian University, the Minister of Education, Honourable Owen Nxumalo, says the university will not have reached this level without the oversight of the Eswatini Higher Education Council.
The university is a cornerstone in our efforts to ensure the well-being of all Emaswati. As we tour the facilities, I am impressed by the dedication to providing a conducive learning environment. The state-of-the-art laboratories, lecture halls, and simulation centers are essential for equipping our students with the practical skills and the knowledge they need. We acknowledge the ongoing efforts to enhance infrastructure and are committed to supporting future development. We must ensure that our students have access to the most up-to-date resources and technology to excel in their studies and future careers.
The Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Paul Park, expressed gratitude for the government's support.
Some may say that instead of spending so much money to train doctors in this country, why don't we send the students to other countries to train them? However, training doctors in our own country, in this own land, has a special value that cannot be converted into cash money, right? First, it is an issue related to medical sovereignty. Do you know how much do you think other countries are interested in Emaswati's healthcare? I think it's almost none. Okay? Almost none. Eswatini must take responsibility for their own health issues.
The Member of Parliament for Stobela constituency, Honorable Mangoba Slongonyane, who is also chairperson of the Ministry of Education and Training House of Assembly Portfolio Committee, praised the university's leadership for establishing the institution in Eswatini.
I have to thank the leadership of this institution for deciding to come and download their vision in our country, thus benefiting thousands and thousands of Eswatini learners who might have otherwise been to other countries or decided to do other courses.
The university informed the minister and members of parliament that there is a hall available within the institution at the Hilltop campus where the public will be allowed to host events. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Hilltop.
The Honourable Minister of Housing, Apollo Maphalala, has given urban authorities a task to mobilise funds for the development of cities to ease the burden on ratepayers. The Honourable Minister was speaking during a stakeholder engagement for the review of the Rating Act of 1995.
As the Rating Act of 1995 is not aligned with the country's constitution of 2005, the Minister of Housing held a stakeholder engagement to review this act. The Honourable Minister of Housing, Apollo Maphalala, gave a task to local authorities to mobilize funds for the development of their cities to decrease the burden from the ratepayers.
Whilst we, endeavour to make our cities and the towns affordable and livable, but we still need to be cognizant of the fact that they still have to be sustainable and financially stable. Ema municipalities, we have always been challenging them to say, sekufanele nihlale ninawo ema resource mobilization, offices within your municipalities. People that will focus on writing project proposals, that will focus on, studying the global funding patterns, studying, the interests, and doing all sorts of things so that we are able to mobilize the resources outside the national fiscals. Government support to municipalities is dwindling, and if we continue to burden the ratepayer with the cost of running our municipalities, it's not sustainable.
Municipal Council of Manzini Mayor Goodwill Dlamini presented recommendations and proposals from the stakeholders.
It's one of the issues, the indigent policy that need to be enacted in order to seek and address to all the vulnerable parties that we have in the cities, the 8 Bafalogati, vulnerable kids and the house-headed families as well. Logo siyacela ukuphakanyiswa in this. Also, lokuphakanyiswa is the church house, a house of worship. It has been discussed in this house that by exemption, but we do understand the municipality and cities and towns. They are saying, yes, that can happen, but lala sendama business akabuko ngemehlo lakhona.
The Honourable Minister further asked for government to support the cities by paying old rates. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Temba Shabangu, Manzini.
Government is committed to permanently resolving her expenditure arrears. This is evident in that Cabinet is taking decisive steps, including the adoption of annual audits and the gradual transition to an accrual-based accounting system in line with international public sector accounting standards. This has been said by the Minister for Finance, Honourable Noo Rautenbach, during the launch of the Eswatini Public Finance Review Report by the World Bank, which gives recommendations for Eswatini's fiscal sustainability and economic stability.
The World Bank Country Director highlights some of the recommendations from the report.
Addressing current macro-fiscal imbalances is essential to promote investment and economic growth and enhance resilience of Eswatini's economy to economic shocks. Domestic revenues could be increased while also strengthening competition. In parallel, there's a room to enhance tax administration, to reduce tax evasion, and improve compliance. The third message we want to leave with you is that strengthening public financial and investment management would improve the impact of government spending. Then the fourth and final message is that addressing inefficiencies in public health spending.
The Minister for Finance, Honorable Nell Rickenback, has given assurance that some of the recommendations from the report have been incorporated in the 2025-2026 budget. He adds that settlement of arrears is a top priority.
We're committed to permanently resolving the issue of government expenditure arrears. Cabinet has taken decisive steps, including the adoption of annual audits and the gradual transition to an accrual-based accounting system in line with the international public service accounting standards.
The Minister for Economic Planning, Dr. Tambo Gina, shared that his ministry is enhancing public investment guidelines.
We have recently revamped our public investment management guidelines, which now also incorporate climate considerations. The guidelines aim to continually improve the methodology and to prepare and assess public investment projects through all aspects.
The Minister for Health, Mduduzi Matsebula, who was represented by the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Apollo Mapalala, notes that investment in healthcare does not yield desired income, hence the need to follow the recommendations of the World Bank.
We must build an integrated, responsive supply chain system that ensures availability and quality of essential medicines and other supplies. We must strengthen primary health care as a foundation for progressing to universal health coverage.
The Minister for Finance in his budget speech last week projected that the economy will grow by 8.3% in the financial year 2025-2026, and many sectors feel if the recommendations of the report can be incorporated into this projection, this can be achieved coupled with the development efforts by government. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
Civil servants are paid higher than private sector employees, and this reflects in government expenditure. This was an observation made by Marco Kwaramba, who is a senior country economist of the World Bank. Kwaramba shared this during the launch of the Eswatini Public Finance Review report at the Hilton Garden Inn in Mbabane, drawing a reaction from Business Eswatini.
The gap is too large in such a extent that the civil servants are being paid more than the private sector. Average payment or average wage for the civil servants is 2.5 higher than on the private sector. If you want to talk about percentage, the gap is 61%. The wage premium is actually 61% higher in the public sector than in the private sector.
The news that civil servants get paid more than those in the private sector came as a shock to Business Eswatini, especially because companies under this organization contribute about 92% of the private sector gross domestic product. The Chief Executive Officer, Inathi Dlamini, reacts.
You would notice that some things that you didn't even know, that the civil service is actually now on aggregate paid higher than the private sector. These are findings which we will be litigating inside. I find them very, very, very odd, but we will see. And I am coming from the point of view of the private sector being, and I will say it out loud, the genesis of national wealth in this country.
On another note, the governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Phil Mnisi, says the Eswatini Public Finance Review addresses key priority areas that will help in paving a clear monetary policy path.
The report is highlighting the issue of arrears. Arrears are very important because if they are not addressed, they create a structural issue. So government has to borrow money to deal with outstanding payments instead of borrowing that money to invest in capital formation. So that is not good. And I'm happy that the report is addressing that problem. And also the commitment by the minister to attend to the arrears. because when the arrears are also not addressed, it goes got a negative effect on our reserves.
Reports from the Ministry of Public Service state that civil servants are over 40,000 in Eswatini. For Eswatini TV News, Nelswen Langamandla, Fuminkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
And now let's have a look at our financial indicators.
Standard Bank.
And moving on to sports, COSAFA Executive Member Dr. Timothy Shongwe says Eswatini Football Association should conduct a study analysis and provide a map of where they want to see Sihlangu Semnigati in the next 5 years. Shongwe says if the mother body was to work in that manner, Sihlangu would get a chance to win COSAFA in the future.
Kukhona ukusho ngelivi linye lokuthi sifaphi kukhona nalosithi status analysis lengicabanga ukuthi nasibuya emidlalweni noma silungiselela imidlalo ufuna sicale sibuke lo ukuthi yini lesi.
Dr. Timothy Shongwe, the COSAFA executive member who is in charge of running competitions, says the country has more work to do if Sihlangu Semnigati is yet to lift a COSAFA competition or qualify for one of the major competitions. Shongwe says the local football fraternity needs status analysis where they have to sit down and decide on the achievements from time to time. Shongwe gives an example of how this could work if the country would know what they want to achieve every 24 months, time to time, or every 5 years. He concluded saying that in the past, the national team has proven that the country is capable based on the previous results when Eswatini got a bronze medal. Shongwe says a proper plan of what the country want to achieve ahead is indeed needed.
Asesibuke ukuthi la singahamba sifike phi. Fine lamanye kuba mandatory lokuthi siwadlalise so that sothola imali bo CAF.
And that's all for now. Before I go, here's a reminder of our headlining stories. The Prime Minister has arrived in Belgium to take part in the Global Council for Political Renewal meeting. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Thulzile Dladla, has welcomed a delegation from the company that partnered with Eswatini through a humanitarian project that saw 20 houses being built for the needy in various constituencies. The Minister of Commerce, Honorable Manqoba Khumalo, says government is set to improve industrialization through factory shells and cottage factories. And with that, it's a wrap. I'll leave you now with the weather update from myself and the crew. Thank you for your company. Take care.
Introducing Cousin Celeste's latest look. And these are the best part. They are limited edition.
Like me. Get Barto school shoes for only 70 Emalangeni when you spend 350 Emalangeni or more. Buy 1 kg Spar Daily Spread Tub for just $34.99. Or 2-liter Spar ice cream. Buy any two for only 110 Emalangeni.
And that's why we shop at Spar.